Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. To be honest, I was not planning on getting on here this soon. I was planning on making a video later on. But things changed that. I want to be as transparent as possible because that's what I'm making my channel about. The transparency, the realness, the rawness of my content. So if I were to have made this later, it wouldn't have been like as authentic. So I have a little bit of a story time. I look like a hot mess right now, and that's kind of the point. So all right, it's a little awkward, it's a little anxiety inducing, which is why I'm acting the way I am, just in case anyone is wondering. So basically, to start it out, I have a second side job, well, because I have two. So my second side job is being an Uber Eats driver. I've been doing it since last year, and I've never had any issues with it before. And today I ran into two issues. So I'm like, okay, awesome. You know, like I already had a really bad night last night for a totally different reason, but having to do with my first side job, that left me with a whole like ball of anxiety, that is still there because I still haven't figured things out completely. I don't know where it's gonna go. So I just like, I don't know, I kind of like shut down mentally after whatever happened last night. But I did wake up with the motivation to just get out there, get on the road, do my Uber Eats, driving, get as many rides as I can all day long. I knew it was gonna be like a wintry storm today, so that's what's happening right now. Hence why I'm here taking a video and not on the road. I thought this would be a good time for a break anyways. So all this that happened just happened within the 4 hours I was driving, I think. I started around 8:45-ish because I went to get gas first. So I woke up around 8 something, I don't know, but I know I started around 8:45-ish, and I ended around 12:30, 1 o'clock, something like that. Well, it was more like 12:30. Sorry. Okay, so first thing that happened, I don't know, this might have been like my fourth or fifth ride, whatever it was. It took me to my old job, okay, the old warehouse that I used to work at. Not the best place for me to be. Let's just put it this way. I'm banned from the property, and it's not how it sounds at all. It's very much so a dramatic situation on their end, and it's a bit ridiculous. But I didn't know, because if you guys are familiar with Uber Eats orders, it doesn't really tell you where you're gonna end up. It just tells you like where you're picking up from first. So then once you click on that and then you start doing the order, like you then see the address, right? About like where the person lives, or you know, where you're dropping off the food to, if it's like a building of some sort or whatever, a company. And this one just so happened to be my old job, and I recognized the address. Like it sounded familiar to me, but I think because of all the like bad shiz that went down over there, like I try not to like store anything in my memory. too much. So like it was the same road and the number sounded familiar, but I was like, maybe it's like a like neighboring warehouse, you know, because there's other ones like down that road too. So I'm like, okay, I wasn't thinking too much about it until I was driving down that road with the food and about to drop it off, and I'm like, all right, I'm getting pretty close to that destination. And then I see that it's telling me to turn in there, and I'm like, great. So it's a Saturday though, so I'm like, okay, like people, if they're working, it's for overtime, and it's not going to be like a full lot of everybody who I have issues with there. So I'm like, okay, hopefully it's just like, it's not who I am like thinking I may run into and hoping I'm not gonna run into. I did see one car parked out there that was one of the people that I was hoping not to run into, so I'm like, okay. But the car that was like right next to me as I was coming in, like he was parked, I don't know how to explain it, but he was parked like right next to the door where I had to deliver, because I had to deliver to the shipping dock door, which is that was like where our entryway was every time like we entered the building, like us employees and stuff. So basically everybody who didn't work on the office side. So yeah, I'm driving up to it, and then I see the name, and it was a Karen. I don't recognize anyone with that name there. So it's probably somebody new. That place is like a revolving door anyway, so it's very likely that it's somebody I never met before. So, you know, I gave them a call, and as I'm giving them a call, like just to be like, hey, I'm here, I have your food, the guy in the car next to me happened to be the security guard who hated my guts when I worked there, who talked a lot of shiz about me, and who also told me that I was banned from coming inside the building. So I was like, awesome timing, because I think he was like just getting off his shift, so he was in his car about to leave. So he goes like, he lowers his window and he's like calling out to me. He's like, ma'am, and I totally ignore him. I don't make eye contact. I I avoid it at all costs, because I just know what he's gonna say, because I know he knows who I am. Like he could recognize me. Like, you know, it's been, how long has it been? It has been not even a year yet since I quit. So I did quit, guys. I did not get fired. I did not get thrown out of there or anything like that. That's why the whole thing about me being banned from there is completely ridiculous, and I can make a whole video about that. Maybe I will. But anyway, the point being that this guy, his name is John, the security guard. So he goes and like keeps calling out to me. I just keep ignoring him. And then eventually I think he realized that I just wasn't gonna give in, so he drove off like he should have from the beginning. I mean, he's leaving his shift. He's not clocked in. He's clocked out, you know, like, hello, you're like a freaking mall cop. Like, you're not armed or anything. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, I mean, worst case scenario, if I like responded to him, it would have just been like, hey, well, I'm an Uber Eats driver, so I have every right to be here, you know, like, and I'm inside the parking lot. I'm not even in the building. I'm dropping off food. I did not know it was coming here. And like, that's like stuff that I wouldn't even need to explain to the guy, but he's the type of guy who would be like, yeah, no, you can't be here still, and like make a big deal about it, probably call the cops. Like, that place is just a mess. A hot mess. So whatever, I'm like, okay, this is super awkward. So I'm on the phone with the girl, Karen, and she goes like, hablas español? And I'm like, sí. And So we were talking in Spanish, you know, like, she's telling me just to leave it, like, she's like, are you in front of C building, or C, la puerta C, say. She's like, are you in front of the door C? And then I was like, yeah. And then she's like, okay, could you just leave it outside there? I'll come get it. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And then, you know, so that, I mean, I was planning to do that anyway, just because I'm banned from the building. So I was like, that was why I called her, because I know normally when people drop off food, because I used to work there and I used to order food from there, that you would actually like ring the bell, security would open the door, let you in, and then you would drop it off with the security guard. Like, that I know, that I remember. But there's this little area outside the door that you could set food on, and that's what I was planning to do. So I was gonna tell her over the phone, like, hey, you know, I'm here, I'm outside, I'll wait for you, or I'll just leave the food out here. But she said it first, so I was like, okay, cool. So I was in the process of leaving the food. I hung up with her, and then I see the door open from the security guard, because they have the camera so they could see, like, you know, if someone's right there, obviously. And like, they saw me, whoever it was. I didn't recognize her voice, but she goes like, hello. I'm like, hi, I'm just dropping off an Uber Eats order. And then she was like, can you bring it in? So I'm like, okay. So then I start bringing it in. She comes to meet me, like halfway or whatever. And then she was like, yeah, sorry, it's just that, you know, it's kind of rude to leave food outside. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, it's just that I'm kind of banned from the building. Like, it was so stupid. And then she's like, oh, okay. And then it was someone I didn't know, so it has to be somebody new, like, you know, before, like, after I quit from there. But the whole situation was so awkward. I'm like, really, really I'm grateful that I didn't run into anybody else, like any of the other managers or supervisors that were my coworkers before. So grateful for that, but not grateful that I ran into that John security guard and that I had to walk into the building and all that. So yeah, that already put me in a funk, because I was like, like, when you have the type of anxiety that I do, like, I don't just have generalized anxiety disorder, I have panic disorder. So it's like, like, you know, and I didn't take my medication yet for the day, so that's why I'm like all fidgety over here and stuff. But I'm like, okay, great, like, that happened, cool, whatever. Like, to someone else maybe it wouldn't be a big deal, but to me it put me in a funk, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm already in this funk from like last night, from whatever happened, and then now I'm in this funk because of this. And I'm like trying to laugh it off, trying to be like, okay, whatever, it was nothing. But then I go, and this is more serious now. That's more something I could like laugh off, whatever. But this, I just can't. So I think we're far enough in the video that I could say the words that I want to say, which is good. So the whole reason why I'm making this video right now instead of later is because I want it to show and be totally transparent of the way that I look right now. Okay, like, this is my hair. It's like frizzing out everywhere. Like, I literally just rolled out of the bed, technically the couch. I slept on the couch last night, but I rolled out of the couch, woke up in my clothes that I wore yesterday, and went driving. Didn't even brush my teeth, didn't even take a shower, did nothing. Just rolled out and went out. This is what I'm wearing, guys. Like, a sweater. Okay? I'll even stand up just to be totally transparent. This is what I'm wearing. Sweatpants, sweater, messed up hair. I look like a hot mess. So, I mean, I'm not trying to impress anybody when I'm like delivering Uber Eats orders, you know. It's not like one of those jobs that you have to like look like presentable and like, you know, blah blah blah, whatever. I mean, you're literally just dropping off food, and most of the time because of COVID and stuff, like people prefer you to leave the food at the door. It's not like a meet at door situation unless it has to be. So I really don't care what I look like when I go out driving. Usually I prefer to take a shower first. Just to like, you know, feel like, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm more awake, this and that, you know, like I do normally do that. Today I happen not to. So with that being said, that is no excuse for what happened. I'm totally aware of people blaming the females in this situation with sexual advances, and they always go to, well, what were you wearing? Like, were you wearing something provocative, some like cleavage showing, or this showing, or that showing, and you know, did you entice this person to make comments or, you know, say whatever, do whatever? No, like, no. And this is where, you know, it's gonna sound like I'm being a feminist and I'm being a snowflake and whatever else you want to call it. I don't care. I couldn't care less, honestly, because the truth is just the truth. It's not my truth. It's not anyone else's truth. It's just the truth. So no matter what I'm wearing, guys, like I could have worn a mini skirt and a tube top or something, like I don't know. I could have wore underwear, lingerie, you know, a robe. It doesn't matter. It's never okay. It's never an excuse for anyone of any gender to make an advance at you that is considered sexual and that you are not comfortable with, especially like from a complete stranger, when you're just working, when you're doing your job. And this happens to me all the time. Like, why? At my job, you know, at my main job, like I get, you know, kind of sexual advances here and there, and like some people don't look into them as deeply as they should. Some people take it like very lightly, and it's mostly men who do. But the thing is, guys, when you're at work, and if I'm driving, if I'm an Uber Eats driver, I'm working, okay? Like, it's not like it's just a random person on the street, okay? So I'm trying to like set up the scenario before I tell you guys what happened. It's very bothersome. It's very uncomfortable. It's not okay. It's not right. But on top of all that, I just showed you, like, you see what I look like right now. This is what I looked like earlier when I made this delivery, okay? So you can't even like try to make that argument, even if you wanted to, that like, oh, you're not covered up enough, you gave off signals or this and that, whatever. No, I didn't. If I gave off any signals, guys, it's I'm homeless. I need to, you know, like get my hair done. I haven't been to the salon. Like, I don't know, I need to take a shower. Like, if someone went real close to me, they'd be like, you need to put some like deodorant on or perfume. Like, I'm kind of exaggerating, but I don't smell. But I'm just saying, like, if I was to give off any impression, that would be the impression I'm giving off, okay? So I go to deliver to this guy named John. Another John. And he lived in an apartment building complex that was in, shoot, where was it? Carroll Stream, I think. I can't remember. I was in the Glendale Heights, Carroll Stream area, whatever. So I was over there. It's not like a bad place. I've never delivered to that complex before, but it didn't look shady. It didn't look like, you know, weird people live there or something. Like, it looked like any other place. But the guy's instructions said wait in car. And if you guys are familiar with the Uber Eats app, like either you order or you're a driver yourself or whatever, when it says wait in car, usually just call the person and be like, hey, I'm here, like, you know, I'm your Uber Eats driver. You could say your name, whatever, and like, yeah, I'm outside with your order. And then they usually just say like, okay, I'll be right down. And then they come to your car and then they get the food, you know, or whatever you're delivering. So I was waiting for him. Like, that was kind of how the phone call went. And he's standing by the entry door to his building, and he kind of like waves at me and signals for me to like come. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, why would it say wait in car then? You know, I've never seen that happen before. It's weird. But I'm like, all right, cool. So whatever, maybe because it was raining or something. I grab his food. It's just a little bag of Chinese food. I go up to his, like, you know, his little entry door or whatever, go up the stairs. I'm like, hey, like how's it going? How are you today? You know, just trying to be like nice. He was like, I'm good, how are you? And then I'm like, I'm good. And then I was like, here you are. Have a nice day. I turn around and then he goes like, hey, wait a second. And then I turn back, and normally when someone calls me back, it's because something's wrong with their order. Like, so, you know, something like there was a drink that is missing, or something else is missing, or it's the wrong name on the order, or whatever the case is. I just assumed that that's probably what it was. So I like start walking back up the stairs, and he was like, so weird question. Do you want to have sex? And he said it just like that. Nonchalantly, like just like that. And I'm like, no. And then he was like, okay, cool, have a good day. What? Yeah, that's not funny. The way that he was so like casual about it makes me wonder, is that the first time he's asked, or is he like comfortable asking this a lot and people just haven't reported him yet? Because I would assume that if he is like a frequent Uber Eats buyer, he wouldn't be allowed to make orders anymore if he had been reported on previously. So I'm like, either way, whatever, I feel uncomfortable. He looked also like, because I'm not gonna like talk about race or anything because that has nothing to do with it, but the way that his physical appearance was, it totally gave me vibes of somebody who sexually molested me when I was little. So that kind of fed more into the discomfort I felt. And regardless, it's still like, it's still report worthy for sure. Like, some people might watch this video and be like, oh my god, like so dramatic, like why are you being a snowflake, why are you being this, why are you being that, whatever, why are you being, you know, exaggerating or whatever. That's bullshit. I mean, I'm not exaggerating at all. He asked me if I want to have sex. Like, he didn't say like, hey, do you want to come inside, hang out or anything. Like, he literally said the word sex. And even that would have been creepy, to be like, hey, do you want to come inside? Like, I'm a total stranger. I'm working, clearly. Like, you don't know me. You don't know my life. Like, why would you even say that, you know? So I just felt like really like, okay, I need to make a report on this guy, like, especially for people in the future who happen to run into this guy, like, while they're doing their Uber Eats orders, delivering. And yeah, so I did. So I did that. That took about like half an hour, like just being on the phone and like being transferred to the sexual assault hotline or whatever. And then I was asked if I wanted to like make a police report. I didn't do that, but you know, I wonder if I should have. Like, I always feel like, you know, I sometimes don't do enough, and then like some people make me feel like I do too much. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I just didn't want it to go further than it had to, I guess. What they did for me was they made it where we'll never cross wires again. So like if he orders any Uber Eats orders or whatever, it's never gonna come to me. So thank goodness for that. Like, you know, I'll never have to face him again, whatever. But I do think that like they should do something else, like not just for my sake, but for the people, like I said, like anyone else who may order from this guy, like, you know. And I mean, imagine the way I was looking today, the way I was dressed, like, and this was like in the morning, you know. Imagine if he was like, I don't know, like presented with a female driver who does like dress up for her job, you know, like for better tips or something. And like by dress up, you know what I mean, like dress provocatively or whatever, just to get better tips from guys. Because I know there are people out there who do that. I mean, there's people who like go to the gym to work out with a face full of makeup and in like a freaking sports bra and like short shorts and stuff, and it's like, what are you really here for, you know? Like, that's questionable. But and their hair is all down and done. It's like, what, you're gonna sweat like that? But anyway, yeah, I fear for those females, because I mean, regardless of what, you know, what they're dressed like, whatever, they should never have to like receive those comments, questions or anything, like advances like that. And then like I'm just thinking about like at night, like that's so scary. Like if you go to a random apartment building in the middle of the night, it's really dark, and if you're alone, and you are dressed a certain way or whatever, like let's say this guy had a little bit of like liquor in him, some form of alcohol in him, maybe that makes him a little more like loose, and maybe it would move from like, hey, you want to have sex with me, to hey, come here, and like grabbing the arm, and like who knows. Like I'm creating scenarios in my head right now just because like that was so creepy, that I can only imagine that there's even more creepiness like behind what I saw. If that makes any sense. So yes, I did report him. Hopefully it goes somewhere else without me having to make like a police report investigation thing. But yeah, that's my story. So I am gonna make another video today, and I am gonna do that with my with new clothes on and my hair not looking like a rat's nest and all of that. But I just wanted to come on here real quick and just be totally real, totally raw with you guys, like always. Just to let you know my experience today. You know, like this is kind of a rant session, yes, but it's also to bring awareness. Like, I mean, obviously the first half didn't have to do with bringing awareness. That was more just like my story of like my former job and, you know, the awkwardness of it. But the second part, definitely like to bring awareness to, hey, that is not cool. Like, don't assault people, okay? Don't verbally assault people. I mean, obviously don't physically assault people, but I think that's more like what people think that is assault if it's physical. And if it's verbal, then you're just exaggerating. You're just like wanting to look for like drama or look for like whatever. Like, no. That's still assault. So to all the females out there, be careful. And not just females, I mean males, anyone. Like, this is gender fluid, you know, like, I'm all about gender fluidity. So honestly, because you never know what the guy that John's you know, sexual orientation is, like, who knows. But just be careful, guys. For all you Uber drivers out there, like Uber Eats, Uber, regular Uber, like, I've always thought it's kind of very risky. That's why I was like, I'm never doing like regular Uber driving. But I never thought that I would have like any issues with Uber Eats. Like, that's just wrong. Like, that's so wrong. But yeah, just be careful, everybody, please. And do report people. Don't think that, you know, maybe somebody else will report them, and, you know, like, that it didn't get so far for you that you need to report them. Like, don't think like that. Like, honestly, everything is worth being heard. Everything is worth being put on record. I've learned that from my past job. And I'm like taking that into all my jobs that I have now, you know, and this is one of them. And it might be just doing Uber Eats driving. It might be something small to some people, but for me, it's still a huge thing, to be bothered like that at your job, like, you know, while you're working. It's never okay, like, regardless of your working. But especially when you're working, you should never feel uncomfortable like that. Like now I feel like skeptical about like going back out there for the rest of the day. Thanks, kitty. You just want to come in my videos. Always. You want to always come in my videos. You're going to knock my phone down. Okay. Okay. Serious moment, Freddie. He's so fucking cute, though. He's so fucking cute. You gotta love when he makes an appearance. Please. I love you, but you have to go. Alright. Oh, God, I forgot what I was saying. I really did. Okay. I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I hope you guys all enjoyed listening to my story. You know, I mean, I don't know how enjoyable it is, but I hope that you take something away from it, essentially. And I shall see you guys later. Thank you for listening, and give me a like on this video if you liked it. If you want to see anything more like this, like where I'm being totally vulnerable, like really getting like deep into my personal life, I don't mind it. So if you want to hear more like stories and stuff like that, like, I am totally open. I'm an open book. Leave a comment down below. Feel free, like, you know, follow me on my socials, reach out to me any other way. Let me know what you guys want to see in the future, what kind of videos. I'm open to anything. So please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and have a beautiful day, guys.